But first, before we get into the episode, we need to issue a content warning. Due to the nature of the show, we will be discussing sensitive topics which could include murder, violence, sexual assault, domestic abuse, animal abuse, elder abuse, alcohol, drugs, racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, and more. Please take this into account when deciding when, where, and if to listen.
Stay safe, everyone.
Hello and welcome to Looking for a Man in His 30s, a Criminal Minds podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Sara, and today we'll be discussing Season 1, Episode 20, Charm and Harm, which premiered on April the 19th, 2006.
But first, let's have a little chat.
Why not?
So, keen viewers may notice that both my hands are in hand splints, and that is, well, wrist splints, really. That's because I irritated the carpal tunnel over the past couple of weeks. I might have mentioned it on the last episode, or it might have been one of those things that we cut out. Anyway, this chat is not about my wrists. It's actually about a different health problem. Sarah may as well have gone on holiday for the past week, because I have had another medical thing where I had to go. I had this problem with my eye, which felt like there was, you know, if you were sucking up a milkshake through a straw and like weirdly pinched the straw a bit halfway down. So it felt like something was almost like going up and then being like to push through. And I was like, I don't think that should be what's happening in the back of my eye.
No.
Because I already have a slight leakage on the back of this eye, which they diagnosed the opticians in October and said, oh, it could get better on its own. And I was like,
okay.
So anyway, I tried to do 111 and they were like, make an appointment with your GP in the next couple of days. I did a self-referral thing to my GP and they were like, we don't have any appointments left for today. Go to the walk-in centre. So I asked my uncle to give me a ride to the walk-in centre, which he does. And I go there. I'm there for like 3 hours. They look at the back of my eye. They do my blood pressure. They do some other things, like they have me stand on a thing and read text of so essentially like a little mini eye test. And they asked me a load of questions, and so the nurse practitioner that I was speaking to, she said, I very much doubt that this is anything major. From all of the test results we've done, you know, blood pressure, pulse, looking in the eye, all of the answers you've given me, no red flags for something like, oh, you're having a stroke, or, you know, anything else that could cause your eyes to be a bit funny. And so she was like, my best advice is to make an appointment with the opticians, go back there and get this scan at the back of your eye. And I'm like, cool, that's another 30 quid. Thanks. Really appreciate that. So I've made an appointment for tomorrow, but it has gone off today. So I'm wondering, because she also said it could be the tear on the back of your retina, or it could be just a muscle twitch that you're hyper aware of because you're like, oh, I have a leak on the back of my retina. So she said it could either be that or it could be a muscle twitch, but either way, go back to the opticians, pay for the OCT scan. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
Beautiful.
I know, isn't it?
Hey, actually, I've got an eye appointment on Thursday.
Oh, good. What's yours? Is it just your routine one?
I mean, routine screening. Do you know what I mean? Diabetic screening. So, because I have it every 3 months now.
Oh, no.
Last year they found slight maculopathy in my left eye. So, because they found that, they have to check every 3 months now.
I was just going to ask, are you experiencing any, like, issues?
No, because they asked me that before, and I said I haven't really noticed anything. Like, was it either last year or the year before? I had ocular migraine, so I had like zigzag lines in my vision for a couple of days. But that was like one time. Other than that, no major.
Yeah. I had an ocular migraine. Was it last year or the year before?
Weird,
It was
isn't
where
it?
I couldn't read the back of a packet. Like my dad had given me some yogurt to read the back of the packet for the ingredients, and I was like, "Oh, I feel so sick, Dad. I've no idea what it says."
I can't read shit.
My guess is I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I was just a little bit worried, but it feels better today, and so I'm thinking it might be because I didn't get very good sleep over the
Yeah.
weekend.
And at least the scans tomorrow will calm yourself a bit. Like, relax.
Yeah,
So you'll know
I
what.
moan about paying 30 quid, but
Yeah.
it's a small price to pay for me to not
Yeah.
feel nervous about it.
Yeah. 100%.
So, best case scenario, I go tomorrow and I waste 30 quid.
Yeah. But at least you get peace of mind.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Either they'll tell me it hasn't changed, or they'll be like, it's got better. And hopefully nothing else. And they'll just be like, oh, I think it might have just been that you were worried about it. And maybe you didn't, because I got terrible sleep over the weekend, because after we recorded on Friday, I texted you to be like, I'm still here at 9 o'clock doing the fucking thing. It could just be that, because you did message me yesterday and go, I'm going for a nap. I've got a bit of a twitch in my eye.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking annoying. It lasts 3 days. Not all the time, just every now and again, this eye just twitches. It's like,
what does it feel like when it twitches?
It just feels like, I don't know, it's kind of like a pulling sensation. So like if you get like a muscle twitch, you can feel like a spasm.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, but my eye.
See, that's the thing. It could have been that I was experiencing, and I just haven't had it before. Yeah. So I'm just there like, oh, that's probably the retina damage getting worse. Anyway, Sarah, let's lift everyone up with your story. Because at least your story isn't about eyesight problems.
No, it's more of a rant to Bolton Council. Why are you doing roadworks everywhere?
Oh, yeah.
So, near where my best friend lives, she lives on the other side of town, and she lives off this main road. So, they've decided they're going to resurface about half of it. So, currently, the road has been made one way from, like, just outside the town centre up until where my dad works.
Odd thing to do for a main road.
It's a good, mile and... It's about 2 miles, maybe, mile and a half. Anyways, so today, going there, I get to the road. Now, the last time I used it, I could access from a different way, a side street. That's blocked off. So I had to go up the main road. And the traffic's been moved to the wrong side of the road to continue while they're working on one side. So luckily I can still access my friend's house from there. But then the issue is, I have to take her to her mum's house, which normally is less than a 5-minute drive. Like cutting up like side streets and stuff. Yeah. Because of this traffic and the road that we normally use is blocked, we've had to go all the way around to get to her house. Adding an extra 15 minutes to our journey. And then going from home from hers to mine, there is another roadworks up. We refer to it as the ring road, so it goes round the town. So I'm not jumping that because it's easier. And then a part of that is roadworks on it. Luckily, I know the area, so I managed to do like a sneaky cut through streets.
Oh, I would absolutely not. I would be lost in my own town.
Yeah. So luckily, I managed to find a way to avoid that. But yeah. And then yesterday, I was taking my nephew to an appointment. And what usually takes about 15-20 minutes took us 45. Because of no road work. So thank you, Wigan Council also.
Dude, I don't know what to tell you. Forster City Council's got you beat. They've been doing this for a year.
Oh, damn.
Like, literally, they'll just close. Sometimes there is no one working on there. One time, they closed my road to be like, oh, we're going to work on the drains so that we're prepared for the weather to change. And literally the next week, I'm walking down my road and there is what looks like a fucking tree coming out of the drain. And I'm like, so you did nothing then?
Yeah.
There's no way that tree has come up in the past like 10 days. I think they're just doing it for the fun of it. Like, if you keep people so confused about the fucking where the road closures are, how are you ever going to make a complaint to the council?
I know.
Sarah.
Yes.
Are we done with our rants now?
We are. For now.
Okay. You say that, Sarah. But I will genuinely give you £10 if you can guess what 2000s era political event I talk about in the episode recap. It's off topic and not relevant to the story.
Oh, that doesn't help then.
It's somewhat relevant. Like, I could get there and it didn't take too many jumps.
Still can't think. I will wait in anticipation until then.
Okay. We'll be back with the episode recap after this short break.
Welcome back, and now we're on to Emma with the episode recap. So, Emma, wheels up.
Wheels up. So, Sarah actually sent me a message going, I can see you typing in the Google Doc when she was like, I'm here now. I can see you typing. I want to point out that I did have the main body of my notes written. I was just doing the speech to text thing so that I could get a more in-depth thing.
Beautiful.
So I wasn't quite as hopeless as you thought.
Yeah.
So we open on a steak dinner. Some man is talking about how nice scotch is. Ugh. I can't think of anything worse than being on a date with a man where he's literally cutting a steak and talking about scotch. What? Sorry, huh?
I said, I'll take the steak.
I would not.
Forget about the scotch, but...
Yeah, I would not. I'd be like, no, sorry. I would just like to have some Dr. Pepper and some vegan food. Thank you. Goodbye. Anyway, this isn't a date as it turns out. He's fucking got a woman gagged and bound to a chair while he's taunting her about not having her appetite back. And she has literally got a freaking fabric gag in her mouth. She's dressed in like a robe, like a fancy hotel robe or one you would get at a spa. But we don't have time to linger on that because cut to the bullpen. Now, Elle has miraculously made 2 phone calls within an hour despite hating the phone. And this is such a crazy thing that Morgan and Reed fully need to comment on it and psychoanalyze her as if this tells them something about her inner life. Babes, what are you talking about? A load of people don't like the phone and they still have to use it at their job.
Yeah.
Reed is trying to tell them about telephone inventor and possible patent thief Alexander Graham Bell, and I will remind you at this point that you cannot defame the dead. So if what I said was untrue, at least it's not defamation, it's just a lie. Elle interrupts him and says, actually, it's really common knowledge that Bell beat whoever the other guy was by a matter of hours to the patent office. And despite the fact that this does happen on several occasions, that someone will correct Reed or finish the anecdote for him, Morgan's like, hey, so something's wrong with you. You interrupted Reed. And you're making phone calls. This is part of her job. Part of her job has got to be making and answering phone calls. She has to get hold of information. She needs to update someone about a case. Someone is saying, hey, can you come in and testify? I don't get why they're making such a big deal out of it. It's not like she came in with, like, you know, a bowl of fruit on her head like she was Carmen Miranda. At that point, I would be like, something is wrong with her.
Yeah.
Answering the phone at her job. I don't think that's necessarily something to really suss out a profile about.
Yeah.
But what do I know? Morgan decides that he thinks that answering the phone means Elle is definitely getting some. And I cannot follow this logic at all. Sarah, you were slightly older than me in 2006.
Yes.
Do you think that this has a connection at all?
No.
Ah, good. And I thought it was just me being like younger millennial.
Actually, how old was I in 2000? Oh,
You would have
17.
been 17?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's me just going, what the fuck is going on here? Now, she does go off at Morgan about this. And I still don't think that Morgan is in the right here. Like, she doesn't want to talk about her personal life, Morgan. That doesn't mean she's in a relationship. Elle has never wanted to talk about her personal life.
No.
JJ comes in wanting to know what happens. Elle tries to deflect while Reed explains. And Morgan is like, you deflected. See, it's true. You've got a boyfriend. But unfortunately, yeah, I know. It's like, sorry, Morgan, are you bored? Like, also, think about how much time that he is spending on this. And you're like, do you guys not have stuff to do? This is 2006. Even if you're not busy, you have to make yourself look busy. God, Morgan. It's like you don't know how to survive in the job market. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to spend on whether Elle has a boyfriend because JJ's actually got a case. Turns out, as they get into the conference room, 4 women have been killed along Florida's Gulf Coast in the past 2 months. And Gideon's like, yeah, I spoke to the guys down there. They did have a suspect. And JJ's like, yeah, they've got more than that. They've also got DNA evidence linking one guy to all 4 murders. And they know who this guy is. It's Mark Gregory. And cue everyone looking at her like, if they know who he is, why are they asking us? We're the guys that come in and give like vague things so you can narrow down the suspect profile. Turns out, Florida again, and they've lost him. And he's been gone 36 hours with a new victim, Nicole Wagner. So, good work, Florida, I guess? Let's see, it's 2006. I'm pretty sure Jeb Bush is still the governor. I have not fact-checked this at all, but I'm going to blame Jeb Bush for this. We don't have to ask.
I don't know who that is. So.
Well, this isn't the rant I'd planned, but he was the governor of Florida during the 2000 election, specifically the brother of George W. Bush.
Makes sense.
And there were errors with the Florida voting things because a few districts in Florida decided to try out a new way of organizing their ballot forms. So you know how you would normally see like president, vice president, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in one county, we did a thing called a butterfly ballot. And that involved, essentially, I feel like it was concertinaed in. People should look at this. It's very interesting.
I will do that later.
So there was some people that had tried to vote third party for Ralph Nader, who was the Green Party candidate for the 2000 election, and then, whoopsie-doo, accidentally ended up voting for George Bush.
Oh dear.
Whatever county it was in was a very like liberal county. So they were more likely to go like Democrat or Green. And then it was just like a load of people voting for George Bush. And so essentially the layout confused a lot of people. They ended up voting for the wrong person. So Fox News called Florida for Bush. Al Gore rang and conceded. And then like an hour or 2 later, when they had counted more votes, Gore rang and unconceded because there was a chance that Florida was coming too close to call, even though Fox News had already called it. it goes through some Supreme Court things because why on earth would you fucking try and change the ballot? Why would you make it confusing for people?
Because they wanted him to win.
There were discussions about whether or not some votes were valid or not, because in some things you were like punching a hole in your vote. Like, so it would have the square where you would be like, yes, Al Gore, punch the hole, and it would be like, yep, that's a vote for Al Gore. Anyway, in some cases, the hole punch hadn't gone right the way through, and this is called a hanging chad. And because it hadn't gone all the way through, they were like, oh, we're going to have to discount this because it hasn't gone all the way through. We think this is a spoiled ballot.
No, it's a faulty fucking hole punch.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that was the machine doing it. Like, you press, and then it's like, ugh, but then there's something wrong with the mechanics for that machine, so it hasn't, like, pushed it all the way through.
What the fuck?
So anyway, and Jeb Bush, so allegedly, he said to the Florida voting people, stop counting the votes. He's won. A little odd. And if it's your brother on the presidential ticket, I think you should recuse yourself, and that shouldn't be what you're able to do.
Yeah.
Give it to someone else. Anyway, so it went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court declared that Bush had won, which is why you have all of the kind of memes from the early 2000s where it's Al Gore going, I demand a recount. And it's like, he probably should have had a fucking recount, actually. Yeah. So, yeah. Hey. And that wasn't even the political rant that I was going for, Sarah.
Well, you know, every recording I learned something new thanks to your rant.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you.
I hope that what I said was mostly accurate. Anyway, back to the episode. Yeah. Mark Gregory, the wanted man that they knew who he was and that he'd killed 4 women. The guy that they lost and who was abducted a new victim. Well, he abducts these women, tortures them, and drowns them in hotels. So cool. And then we get the jet scene, and we get the first of the bookend quotes. It's from Gideon, and the French philosopher Voltaire wrote, "There are some that only employ words for the purpose of disguising their thoughts." I would call this deep, but I honestly don't understand it, so maybe it is too deep for me.
Very wise, man.
Yeah. I think that the only issue is that I'm like not a philosopher girly. So I'm just
I did philosophy at college.
Okay, you explain the Voltaire quote. I
have no idea because we didn't learn about him. We learned about like Plato, Socrates, other Greek ones.
I learned about Socrates as well. Do you want to know my favourite fact about Socrates?
Well, go on.
My favourite fact about Socrates is that when they put him on trial for, what was it? It was, I don't remember. Anyway, he was put on trial for influencing the youth because he was like, I'm going to teach them how to think and how to ask questions and stuff. And so at the end of it, they were like, okay, if you say sorry, it will just be like a short stint in prison. Like, that'll be it. We are, you won't have to die and that'll be fine. Short stint in prison. And Socrates went, actually, I think that I have done a great service to the world and that you instead should give me 3 meals a day for the rest of my life.
Fair deal.
And they did, until they executed him by forcing him to drink hemlock. So on the jet, JJ gives us an overview of Gregory's life. Everything seems normal. 38 years old, started a real estate business with a colleague, has a fancy home in Sarasota. This, for younger people listening, it's how the real estate market used to operate before the financial crash of 2008. Google subprime mortgages and probably plus John Oliver if you really want an in-depth thing into it. And Sarah, aren't you just so glad that I brought up the financial crash rather than the Iraq War?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I remember it well.
So do I.
Because the
Of
business
course.
my mum worked for closed down. So she had to
Yes.
find a
And you
new
worked
job.
there too, didn't you?
And
Or
then the
had you
year
already?
and then the year after, when she was in a new job, that closed down. So she had to find a newer one.
Wait, what was the middle job?
Ethel Austin.
Oh,
So she
yes.
was at Woolworths, that closed. She went to Ethel
Yeah.
Austin, that closed. And then she moved on.
Yes, a lot of businesses that you wouldn't have expected to have gone down, like Woolworths, which is a real institution
Yeah.
on the British High Street, just
It's just
nowhere
like,
to be found anymore.
but I worked there for 2 years, but I left the year before it closed.
Yeah.
So I never knew that it was gonna close. I just moved because I wanted more money and more hours. But yeah, sadly it went. But that was the best job I ever had.
Woolworths. All right, why?
It was just like a family. Everyone was nice. It was like a family oriented business, and like even though I was only like young, I was like 16, 17. Like I had a lot of responsibility on myself. And I was like doing everything. I was like tills. I was taking orders over the phone. I was sorting out the stock room. I was everything.
Because I'm a little younger than Sarah and I didn't actually get a job until I finished uni.
Yeah.
I was very much sheltered from the financial crash by being like, this is something that doesn't actually affect my life because I'm still in school. It's a very privileged place to be in.
Yeah. Whereas I left school, mum was like, "You're getting a job." I was like, "Okay."
To be entirely fair, you did have a year off before uni.
Yeah, but I still worked.
You worked from when you were like 15, didn't you?
Yeah, like 16. It's literally as soon as I turned 16, I had to get a job.
Whereas I didn't get a job until I was 22.
Aren't you lucky?
I am very cushioned by my parents' good financial jobs. Anyway, so Mark Gregory has about 1,700 jobs. One of them is photography, and he, as it turns out, is very good at it. Reed says it's weird that so many serial killers dabble in photography, and I would suggest maybe it's a thing where you'd like to memorialize your kills, have photos of it, the location, what you did, especially if you're getting off to it. I would also say that's probably a reason so many like serial killers are also developing in dark rooms, because what you're developing this, you're going to the counter, handing over your roll of film.
Oh yeah.
And then the police, the developers are just like ringing the police immediately.
No.
Like there is something wrong.
Yeah.
Something wrong.
Although, as Reed mentions, it's to do with voyeurism as well.
Oh yeah. I did skip making that note. Yeah, they like to watch. So at the FBI's temporary command center in Sarasota, we learn that the method of killing is that the women are tortured and then wet drowned. Wet drowned means they were conscious when they went into the water, so they are trying to take gasps of air and their lungs are filling up with water. I'm pretty sure. I will just check that now.
Yeah, I think that's what he explained.
Yeah, it's the most. Yeah, okay. Yeah, dry drowning is something where it's different, but what it is a little bit of water gets into your lungs. You might not even think about it really.
Yeah, and then later on,
when you are no longer in the water, is when it starts to cause effects.
Yeah.
Okay, so JJ asks why he would bother with drowning them, because they are barely alive after the torture he puts them through. Thankfully, we do not get a lot of information about what kind of torture it is. And Hotch says that drowning is actually a form of torture because you are literally holding someone underneath the water and watching the life drain out of them.
Yeah.
Agent Raymond McCarthy joins the team as Morgan explains that they'll have to look into Gregory's childhood to find out why he does what he does, which may give them an indication about where he's headed. McCarthy asks if this is the best use of their time, and I'm like, buddy, you're the one that called the BAU in. If you just wanted more people to canvass, might I suggest the beat cops across Florida? So he had a sort of relationship with all 4 of the now deceased victims. The first was a girlfriend, then it was 2 women he had business dealings with, and then someone who worked at a restaurant at the same time as him, but they can't find the connection to the woman he's killed now. The team split up, and Reed and Gideon say they're going to talk to Gregory's father. They say it. They do not do it for quite a while. Hotch and Elle are going through Gregory's office, or going to Gregory's office to talk to his business partner. JJ is going to go through the records at the FBI command center, and Morgan is going to update Garcia, which I do feel is not the same amount of effort that the others are doing. Like, hey, Garcia, we've got here. That's a text.
Yeah.
Cut to a nondescript office building. Elle and Hotch are talking to Gregory's business partner, and he's like, I already spoke to the police. I don't know why you're asking me more questions. Sorry, mate, I'm going to be so honest with you. Your business partner has killed 4 women and is now on the run with another woman he's kidnapped. You are going to be answering police questions for a while. Don't suddenly be like, oh, I've already talked to the police. Like, oh, this is taking me away from my very important work.
Oh, what a shame.
Your best friend murdered 4 people, dude.
Yeah.
Stop talking about how good of a little league coach he was. And he asks, are you sure it's this guy? Because he's disappeared now. So it's like, what? You think that someone wouldn't flee after being named as the lead suspect if they were guilty? I just have questions.
Yeah, me too.
Elle is also like, yeah, when suspects leave town, it makes us suspicious. But the business partner is just like, no, he's my best friend. He's, he works so well with women, blah, blah, blah. The only important thing we learned from him is that Gregory was married in his early 20s and said he'd never do it again. Hotch and Elle ask questions about her, but the business partner can't answer them because he was not around at the same time as this ex-wife. And then he's like, why are you asking these questions? Do you think he killed his ex-wife? The guy murdered 4 women. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he also killed his ex-wife. At Gregory's house, Reed and Gideon are sharing notes about the decor by going, yeah, white walls, big screen TV, typical bachelor pad. And I'm like, are you sure? Because this kind of reads like 2010's Pinterest core.
Yeah.
He has dog bowls laid out on the floor, and I'll be honest with you, Sarah, the first thing I thought, because I've forgotten how this episode was going to go, I was like, oh my god, he's restraining the women and making them eat out of dog bowls. Turns out that's not the case, and I'm probably mixing this up with another episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully of another TV show, or we're going to have to cover that soon, so cool. Yeah. He has a closet of like 700 suits in various shades of grey, blue, beige, and black. And the weirdest part is that he has a lot of driver's licenses. They determine that he must be reinventing himself with every sale, dressing up for rich investors, dressing down for like someone who is working class. And I understand changing your suit, like, I understand looking a bit more casual so you're not intimidating when you're speaking to someone who doesn't have a lot of money, and like dressing up so you look really smart for rich investors. That still doesn't explain the driver's licenses. At this point, he is not on the run. Why does he have so many? They determine that the guy is a chameleon. He reinvents himself. Reed talks about the property, saying how it looks clean, but it's just a facade. And Gideon pulls out various catalogues which have workwear in them, like, they're advertising construction equipment or like hard hats, janitorial uniforms, law enforcement, military. And they may be ruses which will get the women to trust him.
Yeah.
But cut to a horrific drowning scene. It's just flashes of lights underwater with distortion on Gregory's face, because it's obviously coming from Nicole's point of view.
Yeah.
He is stopped from his, murder by room service coming to collect the dinner plates from yesterday. And Oscar, the bellhop, he comes inside, he collects the food, he asks if there's anything wrong with it. And Gregory just dismisses it, going, no, my wife just wasn't that hungry, she's a bit ill, but she's in the bath and she should be having, yeah, you're okay, honey. And then he's like, she must have fallen asleep. So Oscar doesn't know, and honestly, I would feel so bad, even though there's obviously no way for him to tell.
Yeah.
Cut to Garcia. She's doing the background research into Mark Gregory, and none of it is good.
Oh, dear.
He has a criminal record for looking in women's windows, statutory rape charges, which Garcia describes as an affinity for ladies with learner's permits. And the marriage lasted 23 days, and Garcia can't find anything about the wife online or in any database, but she assures Morgan this girl must be alive because it would be easier to find her if she was dead.
There's a point.
Cut to the profile, we find out, thankfully, he put his dogs in the kennel, and there's nothing weird going on with the dog bowls. So they don't think he's coming back. They say that he has a mixture of guided and random victims. Guided would be the ones that follow the MO and the victimology, and there are in this 60-mile geographic area that is this hunting zone. But random women outside the comfort zone indicates that he is escalating and very much in a breakdown. The team talk about guided killers and say that they often have an end goal in mind, and Hotch references Andrew Cunanan and Ed Kemper, who saved their most meaningful kills for last. And Sarah, without looking it up, I will give you £5 if you can tell me who Andrew Cunanan's last victim was.
His wife.
No, he was gay. Or maybe bisexual. I don't know how Andrew Cunanan identified, and I don't particularly care.
His lover, maybe. His mum, dad.
Gianni Versace.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
Why?
I don't know why serial killers do stuff, Sarah. I'm not going to be like, well, actually, it turns out he has a really good motive for murdering Gianni Versace.
Strange. Very strange.
Yeah. Random cases will be harder to track because it won't be the same type of woman. He'll spend less time on the torture and more time on the drowning, which he gets sexual release from. Hotch says it's very important we find him in the comfort zone because after that, there's no telling where it could be. Can you say foreshadowing? Hotch takes a call and JJ says, we'll have a press conference. Everything about Mark Gregory will be all over the country by dinner time. His face, his disguises, his names, he's going to be more recognizable than frickin' Elvis Presley. Turns out, Hotch gets off the phone and announces they found the missing girl's body in Georgia.
Oh dear.
So that's out of the 60-mile hunting zone, isn't it?
He's going interstate.
So Elle and Morgan are off on a road trip. Elle and Morgan have got to Georgia. They're heading straight for the hotel where the last victim was found. But as it turns out, Gregory had business dealings all across the southern United States.
Oh dear.
So that's going to make things more difficult.
Mm.
Oh, well. Helpfully, at the last hotel, he checked in using his actual name. But the team don't think that he wants to be caught and don't think that he's taunting them either. He's probably so arrogant, he doesn't think they can catch him anyway.
Like, if he knows that they're already onto him, he's probably like, well, they can chase me if they want to, but who knows?
Morgan and Elle are examining the crime scene, with Morgan remarking about how nice the hotel is, just for Elle to bite back, yeah, what a real great guy. 5-star hotel and he drowns them there.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be honest, I'd rather stay in a cheap motel and not be murdered. Controversial opinion, but I would rather stay in a terrible motel than, get 5-star treatment and then be drowned. We learned that Gregory had to drive Nicole from Tampa to Georgia, and I looked that up. That's 5 hours. So how does someone subdue a victim for 5 hours, someone he doesn't know, across state lines and into a hotel without anybody noticing?
Drugs.
No. Turns out they think he had a ruse. So the ruse that he had probably selected was photographer, telling her that she was really pretty and that she would be a model. And somehow she would think it was fine to drive 5 hours with a guy and go to a fancy hotel room in a city she, I presume, does not know. So cut to an airport parking lot. Gregory is dressed as a pilot and he is staring at this woman who is loading stuff into her car. And at first you think, oh fuck, she's going to be the next victim. Thankfully, her husband comes up and pulls her away. So Gregory stomps off, like literally like a toddler. Stomp. Like, all right, man. Garcia is ringing Hodge to give him an update about the ex-wife, and the first thing she says is, who's your daddy? Which is a wild thing to say on a call to your boss, but she brushes it off and explains that Gregory's ex-wife has seriously covered her tracks. But she hasn't even left Florida. She's in Bradenton. The woman is surprised that they've actually found her when Hodge gets hold of her, because she paid a lot of money to have her past erased so that Gregory couldn't find her. Hodge asks if she's not surprised that Marcus turned out to be a serial killer, and she says that he stalked her for a couple of months after the annulment, which is when she went into hiding. Turns out, and this will be shocking for you, but Gregory was a controlling person and accused her of cheating with anyone whenever she left the house. So she felt her entire life was being controlled and dictated by him. I know. Odd thing that someone who murders women didn't treat his wife very nicely. You're shocked.
No surprise though.
Finally, Reed and Gideon are at the father's house, which, odd, because weren't they going there like an hour ago?
I know, yeah.
The father is denying that his son could be the man they're after. Reed straight up cuts him off and says, your son's narcissistic and has split personalities.
Yeah.
And Gideon says Gregory mastered the art of deception, and this means that his father can only see his good side. As Gideon looks around the living room, he notices that there are no photos of Mark's mum. And the father says, well, she died in a car accident when Mark was 10. And odd, as they point out, if one parent dies, the other parent tends to put them up on a pedestal, which would mean a lot of photos of her. So strange that he didn't. Also, the mother's death should have, especially at the age of 10, should have meant that Gregory was thinking of his mother as a saint and would therefore want to protect women and maybe kill men. So what is up with that? Now, Reed and Gideon begin to go over the other things in Gregory's childhood. For instance, the peeping Tom and the statutory rape. And the father keeps dismissing this with a real boys will be boys attitude. Like, he's like, so what? It doesn't matter. And then about the statutory rape, he's like, her parents made the report. Yeah. If I had a 15-year-old and there was an 18-year-old having sex with her, I would at least be having a conversation, and I would probably bring charges. Do you know what? Once, my friend was telling me this story about how someone in her year at school had gotten pregnant at 13. And my friend, we were literally talking over dinner, and I was like, oh, yeah. And she was like, the girl's parents tried to have the boy arrested because he was like 20. And I was like, yes, of course.
Ooh.
13 and 7 isn't even like Romeo and Juliet laws applicable. That is a full-grown adult.
Yeah. That's what you mean.
Yeah. Like that's not exactly 18 and 15. So I wouldn't admit worse than the story that I've just told you.
Yeah.
But and I was like, well, yeah, that's rape. Like children can't consent to sex with adults. And my friend was looking at me being like, no, they were dating. And I was like, they shouldn't have been. I genuinely felt like I was in some kind of parallel universe where I was somehow insanely talking to someone who was like, yeah, 13-year-olds are perfectly fine to have sex with 20-year-olds. Literally, I'm looking at her like, what the fuck are you talking about? Genuinely, while she was talking to me, I was so scared. I was like, what on earth is going on here?
Oh dear.
What the hell is this? 20-year-olds should not be having sex with 13-year-olds. I don't care if that's the hill I have to die on.
Yeah, no, that was dodgy.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're both adults and there was a 7-year difference, not an issue. But the fact that he was 20, she was 13.
Yeah. If she was like 25 and he was 32, I'd be like, I couldn't care less.
Oh, yeah.
But like, literally, imagine. Because, and also the thing is that people often, like, I say people, I mean men, I mean cisgender men. You hear them being like, oh, yeah, well, it's just that they'll say things like, oh, she's so mature for her age, or oh, it's natural for like evolutionary for men to go after younger women because they're more likely to produce healthy children. Disgusting, but also wrong. Like, genuinely, Sarah, women are more fertile at 40 than they are at 15. So there is no evolutionary basis for your wouldn't it be cool to sleep with a schoolgirl thing.
Yeah.
It's not based in evolution. It's based in the fact that I think you may be, what is it, a hepaphile, technically?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the distinction, but...
And then the fact that teenagers are still developing as well.
Oh, yeah. So, like, your frontal lobe doesn't finish developing until you're, like, 25.
Yeah.
So Gregory's father asks if Gideon is implying that this is all his fault. Did Mark become a serial killer because of me? And Gideon's like, I think you actually made a lot of excuses for him and it didn't do him any favors because he wasn't held accountable for the shit he did when he was younger. Cut to a random hotel room. Mark Gregory, still half dressed in the pilot uniform, has a woman she looks drugged, and he literally grabs a clump of her hair. I will do it on my own hair for the podcast, for the video. He grabs a clump of her hair, brings it to his mouth, and inhales deeply in a way that is horrifying. Because it's not like just kind of leaning your head in, smelling your partner's shampoo or whatever. It literally looks like he's about to take a bite. Like,
yeah, it's a bit creepy.
He moves her to the bed and pours a glass of water over her to wake her up. And then the camera focuses in on the pilot cap, which is hanging off the bedpost. We hear a bath ominously running in the background. Thankfully, in the next scene, Garcia has found Gregory's car at Atlanta International Airport, and he parked in short-term parking, which meant he got a ticket. So Hotch thinks there's a reason why Gregory would have dumped it there. And Reed is trying to be like, look, his last known location was an airport. He could have got on a plane. And I am just like, is his name not out to border agents by now?
Yeah.
Like, he's killed 4 women. He's fleeing. Did you not, like, put a thing on his driver's license or passport so that he can't use them as IDs? I know he's got, like, a 400.
Yeah.
But flag them all. Now, thankfully, they're able to run facial recognition software at the airport in the parking lot because they know where his car was, so they know where he was. They find him wearing the pilot's uniform, but again, I'm not too sure how that helps because, like, yes, he was there, he left the car there.
Yeah.
But they assess from the footage that he's looking for an easy target and doesn't have time to waste on a ruse. And they ask, who doesn't trust a man in uniform? Me. I don't trust men in uniforms. Specifically cops. Gregory, this is, helps a woman get her suitcases into the trunk of her car, and so she offers to give him a lift. Bad mistake. JJ gives the press conference, getting all the information they have about Gregory, including that he's able to change up his look. This is overlaid with footage of Gregory literally changing his look. Changing his outfit, putting glasses on, disheveling his hair.
Yeah.
The team is going over why Gregory feels the need to drown his victims, and Reed says perhaps it's a release of the old is necessary to emerge and begin anew. You know, a cleansing ritual, like baptizing someone. Agent McCarthy asks, but why does he need to purge these women? Cut to Ellen Morgan in the car on their stakeout, and Morgan is just chucking his takeout containers into the back of the car. And Ella's like, this car is a fucking mess. Why can't you just put the rubbish in a bag and throw it in a bin? What is wrong with you? And I'm not a driver, but I would also feel like this. If the person sat next to me was just like lobbing their empty burger container into the back of the car, I'd be like, I actually think it would even be easier to just have a bag.
Yeah.
So she calls him a slob and decides to do a little profiling of her own, saying that his desk looks neat in the bullpen, but it's probably a mess when you look inside any of the drawers. And I really find it funny that Morgan is now being profiled and is like, come as a bitch.
Yeah.
He jokes that they've been on the road way too long, but they're cut off by a ringing phone. Morgan jokes that it must be the boyfriend, and Elle says, yeah, it is actually, and answers the phone to Gideon. And fuck, they found the body of the woman who was abducted at the Atlanta airport in South Carolina, which is a 3-hour drive. So Morgan says it feels like they're just driving from body to body. And honestly, that's a pretty fair assessment. Now, it takes 3 hours, as I said, to drive from Atlanta airport to South Carolina. So I don't know. Was this woman just like, oh, I live in South Carolina too? I'll drive you there? Or was it that he drugged her en route and then drove the rest of the way? It is unclear. And I feel like that's a long time to be in a car with someone you don't know. So we cut to Reed, who's looking at a crime board with all of the images from the airport, images of the victims, and the map points where the kills have actually taken place. Gideon asks if Reed sees something new, but Reed says, no. What I'm just thinking, though, is that in the press conference, we described Gregory as someone who's confident and self-assured. But he's flying under the radar now. They are dealing with someone who's highly intelligent and resourceful. So maybe he's not using a simple ruse anymore. In fact, he could be changing his appearance, which means they won't know who they're looking for. Cut to the rundown motel in South Carolina. Elle and Morgan are arriving at the room, pointing out that this does seem like a major shift from the original locations of luxury hotels. So they theorize that maybe he doesn't know these women, so he doesn't think they're worthy of 5-star treatment before he, drowns them. The manager comes in and they want to ask her some questions, but why are you not talking to her in the office? She's got to have some sort of office at the hotel where you could talk in private, rather than in the hotel room where the body still is.
Yeah.
Because if I was that manager, I wouldn't be like, yeah, this is chill, this happens all the time. What are your questions? I'd be constantly where's the body?
Yeah. You can see her at the way she's aren't looking so you can see anything.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if this is just their poor decision to have the thing there, or she was like, no, I'll come to you, of course.
Yeah.
Don't looky-loo at a dead body. They give her the photo of Mark Gregory, and she says, yeah, I'm pretty confident that was the guy that came in. He paid for the hotel 3 hours ago. I know what time it was because I was watching TV at the time. And Elle is literally examining the body as this conversation is going on, by the way, picking up the foot and looking at where, it says lividity.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what that means, but it looks like something to do with when death actually occurred.
I think it's the state of the body or the colouring or something.
I thought it might have been about the blood pooling, because there does...
Yeah, I think it's something to do with that.
Yeah. We're not crime scene techs. We don't... Yeah. We're literally just vibing. They determined that the woman must have been killed just before Mark Gregory checked in, and I cannot stress this enough. Just go to the office. Why are you having this conversation while literally examining a corpse at the same time? This woman is a civilian. She shouldn't be in there. And the manager seems pretty calm for all of this, because I would absolutely not be. No. And she's like, no, he couldn't remember the number of his license plate, so I went out to check it for him. It's definitely got South Carolina plates. So he's switching the plates on the car. And also, this was only what I saw on my second watch of the episode, but fucking bold to ask the manager to go read the license plates on your car when you have a dead body in your car. So he has abandoned the pilot uniform there. Obviously, in his little suitcase, he had a different suit to wear now. So, again, he slipped through the net. From the level of torture Elle can see, she says that there's no way the woman would have remained alive to be drowned. However, the medical examiner has already assessed that she did die from a wet drowning. And unfortunately, the reason is probably that he resuscitated her every time he nearly killed her with electric shocks, just so that he could drown her again. So he's devolving. There's an escalation. He used to spend 2 days with these women. He used to know them. Now it's 1 day, and it's just a random woman. So he could probably have already got himself another woman. And thankfully, we get a bit of respite. We cut to Garcia. She's having fun by messing with Hotch. She says, here's the answer to all of your dreams. And he says, I'm going to put you on speaker, which she doesn't like. She then tells us that Gregory fractured a vertebrae when he was 10 and suffered damage consistent with whiplash. And this means that he was actually in the car with his mother when she drowned. Reed and Gideon are going back to Gregory's father, but they're too late to stop Gregory hunting down another woman at the supermarket. Now, from this, it looked like he was using a ruse, kind of like Ted Bundy does, where he acts like he can't carry the shopping he's bought. And a woman who works at the grocery store, probably a trolley attendant, the ones that put the shopping carts back. Yeah. She offers some help. He refuses it and then drops what he's carrying so that she will feel obligated to help him. Cut to Reed and Gideon at the father's place, and he says, "Why the hell are you here?" And Gideon's like, "Yeah, so anyway, why are there no photos of your wife?" And the father is like, "Why would I remind my child that his mum died?" Mate, I don't think he's actually forgetting that.
Yeah.
And Gideon and Reed point out that this is not a very typical thing for someone to do if, their partner died.
Yeah.
Especially not if Gregory was actually in the car with his mum.
Yeah.
And they quite rightly go, how the hell could you consider that something not important to the case? If someone is in a traumatic accident where they lose a parent and are injured themselves, of course that is going to have an impact on their future lives.
100%.
They're asking, do you think Gregory held his mum accountable for cheating on you? That might be why he was so accusatory towards his ex-wife in the short time that they were married. And Daddy is again making excuses for his son. This is where we find out that Gregory's mum cheated on his dad, and when she couldn't find a babysitter to look after her son while she was conducting an extramarital affair, she would take her son to the motels with her and let him play by the pool while she had sex with other men. Now, I don't want to slut shame anyone, but hey, don't take your kid with you while you're fucking other men. Just figure something out. Or, I'm sorry, it might be, if you can't find a babysitter to look after your kid, the answer is not to leave your kid by a pool alone.
No.
While you're in a hotel room with a man who isn't your husband. I'm sorry that you just don't get to have sex that day?
What is shit?
Like he's a child? This went on for over a year. And if you're thinking, wow, I'm sure that someone would get their child therapy for this, turns out, if your mum was conducting an affair for over a year and just kind of leaving you by the pool while she fucked random men, and then she dies in front of you, no, that doesn't apparently deserve any kind of therapy in the 80s. This was the early 80s, and psychiatry did not exist to middle America. So they determine that this explains his entire victimology. The first woman he killed was married, having an affair with him. By the way, just as an aside, you are aware that you were cheating too. Like, you were involved in the cheating, Mark, right? Yeah. Never mind. So it brought back all those feelings about when his mum cheated on his father. They then asked the father, do you think your wife's death was an accident? And he's just like, I mean, I don't know. Which is a casual fucking way to be like, maybe my son killed my wife.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have Gideon there to rile him up. Why didn't you do anything? You should have intervened faster. Gregory was literally doing this to act on your behalf because you weren't man enough to. And as they leave, Gideon storms out, basically slams the door behind him, and Reed's like jogging to catch up with him, being like, you do know that Doug Gregory isn't actually the murderer? And Gideon's like, well, he protected one. He made excuses for him his entire life, and now 6 women are dead.
He's just as guilty.
Back to what looks like a very low-rent motel, Gregory has abandoned the rules of even getting a hotel room and is dragging this woman kicking and screaming from her car into a fenced-off pool area and literally dragging her into the pool and trying to drown her. We get those same images of her being under the water from her point of view, so all you see is rippling water and Gregory's face. Luckily, one of the hotel workers is around. He thinks they're just messing around and yells to them to get out of the pool. But thank God he also comes over. Gregory has what I would consider a very weak excuse by saying, "Oh, my wife just fell in the pool." But, I mean, the motel worker was right there. You basically skidded up right to the gate of the pool, dragged the woman kicking and screaming out of the car and towards the pool, and then were holding her underwater. I want to know why this guy wasn't like, "I don't believe you." But anyway, never mind. The motel worker is able to resuscitate her. He tells Gregory to go call 911. He doesn't, by the way, in case you were wondering. And I guess in the interim period, the woman says, "That man was not my husband. He abducted me from a parking lot and tried to kill me." Hutch rings Garcia to see if there were any suspicious drownings in the last few days. And she's like, "Do you know how many people drown every day?" Turns out, 17 a day. On average. There's more in the summer because more people are likely to go into the water. And Hotch just knows this off the top of his head. So, yeah, Garcia starts teasing him, going, "Oh, is this Reed? Sorry." Luckily, the grocery store worker case has already been reported, and Garcia is able to find that out and point out that there are similarities. It's at a motel, it's a drowning, and plus she positively identified Mark Gregory. Oh, also, by the way, this case is taking place in Tennessee now. An hour from the last case. Cool. The team determined that Mark's first victim was actually his mother, and Hotch points out that sons fixate on their mothers because they are their introduction to love.
Right, Oedipus.
Yeah. Gideon says that while Gregory was a child, he was old enough to know what he was doing. And so Garcia sends over all the information about the crash. And Hotch is like, "We better be quick. He's just dragging women off the street now."
Literally.
Cut to a car park. We see a woman talking on a phone. She's telling her husband that she's going to pick up the kids from school. But before she has a chance to even put her keys in the ignition, Gregory jumps into the passenger seat, threatens her, saying, "Do exactly what I say or you'll die," while holding her in a chokehold. Cut to the Tennessee motel. Morgan and Elle are talking to the employee and saying, "Do you believe that the woman just fell in?" And the employee's like, "Well, why wouldn't I trust him?" You know, it's not the first thing you think of. And Morgan says, "Yeah, what kind of psycho would kill someone with witnesses around?" The employee didn't notice Gregory from the news because he's changed his appearance. Now he has glasses and a limp. So they determine that he's definitely not done killing.
No, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Is when, like, they say he's changed his appearance. So they can't recognize him when they, whatever. He's still got the same features. So surely they'd recognize the features regardless of whatever else he's wearing or...
Yeah, but I suppose, like, because if you're just watching the news, you know, you only see it for a flash second, and it's just like white guy, brown hair. How many white guys with brown hair are there?
Yeah, true.
I have very bad facial recognition, so if I'm ever asked to identify someone in a lineup, it's going to be like a, yeah. I hope that I'm never asked to do that.
I'm generally good at faces, not so much names. Right. So I'll see people out and about and recognise the faces, but can I remember what they're called? Nope.
Well, here we go. Sarah will be very good to give a description of the police. So, cut back to the temporary FBI headquarters. The team are examining all of the information about the crash. And there's something funny about it. It doesn't look like a fatal car crash. Most of the damage is on the passenger side. And then they ask Garcia what the cause of death actually was. But before they can do anything about that, Agent McCarthy comes in and says that Kelly Dalton, 28, has just been abducted from a car park. Cut to the Tennessee motel. Elle has got news for Morgan. Hey, we've got a new victim. The hotel employee gives them directions to the mall where she was dragged from. And he's not even getting a ruse anymore. And Elle is like, at least that would have taken some time to plan. He is devolving quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Gregory is listening to the news coverage about him. You know, here's a description. He was on Route 60, last seen in a green car with Tennessee plates. Kelly is trying to persuade him not to kill her. Like, I have a rich husband. He'll pay money to get me back. And then this radio is continuing, going, hey, here's what he looks like. So the team tries to determine where Gregory will actually take Kelly. Garcia finds that the closest body of water to where the mother drowned was kind of exactly where Kelly Dalton was abducted. So this does seem like his final attempt. And then we learn that Gregory's mother's cause of death was asphyxiation by being submerged in fluid. But considering that there was no damage to her side of the car that would have kept her locked in, and her 10-year-old didn't drown, how does the taller mother drown in a car when the 10-year-old doesn't? It's because he drowned her. He literally held his mother's head under the water in their submerged car. Cut to Kelly and Gregory in the car. She's still pleading for her life, saying she has 2 boys who need her, but he's telling her to shut up. Morgan and Elle are driving up Route 60 near the body of water, and they've stopped to look around. Gregory is shouting at Kelly, saying that he knows what she's been doing with men every week. She denies it, saying we've never met before. I don't know what you're talking about. But this just makes him more angry. He makes her turn off the radio, and it is very clear at this point that he is not killing her, he's killing his mother over again. Elle and Morgan are looking around, but they're saying Gregory's not here, we may as well go off, find a different location. But cut back to Kelly in the car, and she is taking an immediate swerve and crashing the car, which is a very smart move. I will tell you that I have heard this piece of advice. If you are getting into a car and someone is in the back seat and they're like, come up to you, like they, you know, threaten you and say, drive or I'll kill you, they're probably going to kill you anyway. And they probably don't have their seatbelt on. So crash directly into a wall. Your seatbelt, your airbag will save you. They will be knocked unconscious, and it will have caused enough of a furore that someone is going to call the cops and an ambulance. So yeah, there's some advice for you, Sarah.
Hope I never have to do that.
So do I. But if you do, crash straight into a wall.
My poor car. I can't do that to Dionysus.
It's literally a car. This guy's going to murder you. Crash your damn car. I'll pay for a new car, for God's sake. Fucking hell, Sarah. So luckily the crash attracts attention. Other people can hear, the horn is blaring, and Morgan and Elle turn their heads towards the noise, and they figure it's probably her. So they jump into their car, the state troopers jump into their car, and they are driving towards where the crash happened. Back to Kelly and Gregory. Kelly is fighting her way out of the car. Gregory is clearly more injured, like he's bleeding from the head, and she is fighting her way out of the car. She is still running for her life, but regrettably, he is able to capture her. He punches her in the head and drags her to the lake as she screams, "Help, help, somebody help me." Elle and Morgan pull up by the bank with the state troopers. They run down to find the abandoned car and take off running after letting the team know, "We found the car, we're following on foot." Kelly is screaming while being dragged into the water. Morgan and Elle are approaching, but not fast enough, even though they can see her being pushed under the water. It's another one of those horrible scenes with the water over the top of her with obscured visions of Gregory's face. He is screaming at her, saying, "Nobody can hear you," even though someone quite obviously can. And in the water, she searches for what looks like either a tree branch or a pipe. I think it looks more like a pipe, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so she fully swings her arm out of the water with this pipe, hits Gregory in the head, goes after him and hits him again. And then, as he's trying to overpower her and he grabs the pipe, Morgan and Elle finally get there, shoot the fucking gun, and he goes down into the water. Elle drags Kelly out to make sure she's okay, and Morgan calls to give an update. Kelly Dalton is going to be okay. Gregory's dead. We cut to Mark's father in a darkened room as we get the transition into the jet scene and Gideon's final quote. The author, Francois de la Rochefoucauld, wrote, "We are so accustomed to disguise ourselves to others that in the end, we become disguised to ourselves." End credits.
And thanks for that, Emma. And we'll be back with the episode discussion right after the short break.
Okay, so now we are moving on to interesting guest stars. So, Sarah, do you want to take it away with the first of our guest stars?
Yeah, so we have Andy Como, who played the role of the unsub Mark Gregory. And I personally noticed him because he appeared in the 4th season of House MD as Dr. Travis Brennan, one of the several doctors that were vying to work under the infamous protagonist, Dr. Gregory House. Because I remember in that season, he had, I can't remember how many people in the group, but he got a massive group of people who wanted to work under him. And then he gave them challenges to try and whittle them down. But his face is so recognisable. As soon as I seen him, I was like, he was in House. I think he was only in about 4 or 5 episodes, maybe. But he's just got one of them faces that's like really recognisable. You got any?
Yes, I do, Sarah. So, first of all, I wanted to talk about Robert Pine, who played the unsubbed dad, Doug Gregory. Now, he is most notable for his role as Sergeant Joseph Getria on Chips. Is that how you spell it? How it sounds?
Getria.
Getria?
I think it's 2 syllables. I'm 2 syllables.
Okay. Well, anyway, while I do not know him from that, I was watching this episode with Rosie, who went, "Do you know that guy? He's Robert Pine." And I was like, "Oh, okay. He's Chris Pine's dad."
What?
No, I honestly fact-checked it to be like, oh, maybe he's not. It's on his Wikipedia. Chris Pine. The guy from all of the DC movies and Just My Luck.
Yeah.
Insane, right?
How do you know that? Obviously, wasn't looking in the right places when I was researching, but you know.
No, but I thought you'd like to. I thought you'd like to hear that.
Wow.
This is the biography part on the Criminal Minds wiki, which I find quite funny. In his personal life, Pine is married to fellow actress Gwen Guilford, who appeared on Chips as the wife of Pine's character. They have 2 children together named Chris and Catherine. Chris went on to be an actor himself, but like literally nothing about Chris Pine. Like literally you wouldn't put that together if you were just reading that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought you'd like to know that.
Small world.
Small world. And then the next one, he played victim Nicole Wagner is Megan Godfrey. She's an actress and stuntwoman. She's actually played a number of murder victims in Criminal Minds episodes across multiple seasons and did stunt work in several episodes between season 3 and season 11. So that's quite cool to know. I like a recurring actress.
Yeah.
Now, for the episode MVP, me and Sarah are going to lay out because we actually have different opinions.
Oh.
So me and Sarah are going to lay out our cases. Do you want to go first, Sarah? Tell us about your particular choice.
So, for me, it was a toss-up between Elle and Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Because they seemed to be in the most this episode. They were travelling, following this guy. And Morgan, in the end, shot the unsub, so he kind of like you see him there. Hero, yada yada. So that was my thinking, and the only reason why I didn't choose Elle is because we choose her all up. So
yes.
That's why I thought Morgan. But what are your thoughts?
My thoughts was I have a baby girl for the episode.
Oh.
And it's Kelly Dalton. Because literally, she is... Like, I have in my notes, the last notes that I wrote about this, I have these notes from the last section of the podcast, of the episode. Come on, Elle. Run. Fuck. Shoot him. Oh my God, does this woman have to save herself? You are armed federal agents. But... I am happy for us to give it to Morgan. He and Elle did do all the legwork. He did actually shoot the unsub, and all the rest of the team were just at the headquarters.
And there was a few scenes where like Morgan was like visibly pissed off about this guy.
Yeah,
like, he was desperate to like find him to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I am happy to give it to Morgan, but I was like. Literally, as I was writing the... Can you see that?
Just about.
Yeah, it's not great handwriting. But it was like, does this woman have to save herself? What's wrong with you guys? But yes, I am happy to give it to Morgan.
Yeah, so he's our pretty boy of this week.
He is.
Yeah.
And such a pretty boy.
I know. We will be right back with the true crime recap right after this short break.
Okay, welcome back for our true crime recap. Sarah, it's time to deliver the profile.
Thank you. So, the unsub in this episode, Mark Gregory, is like a chameleon, constantly changing his appearance to adapt to any situation. So, in terms of true crime cases, the one that fits the most... that I found is that of Christopher Wilder, aka the Beauty Queen Killer. So there's similarities between Mark Gregory and Christopher Wilder, but there's several. Let me get started on these. So they both had a photography hobby and lured victims this way. They both started off as peeping toms in their adolescences. They both had extremely short marriages.
Weird, because they seem like such catches.
Yeah. One of them, it was a matter of weeks, I think. And then the other was a matter of, I can't remember if it was days or... Well, either way.
It's all right. We'll get there.
Both was less than a month. They both experienced drowning cases as children. Except the unsub in this episode didn't actually drown himself. He just drowned his mother. They both committed sex crimes prior to murdering people. They both had successful lives before their killing spree. And they operated across multiple states, starting in Florida and Georgia. And they were able to continue killing despite authorities knowing that they were the ones responsible. And thankfully, both died by gunshot in a standoff with police while attempting to kill their final victim.
Damn, that is a pretty note for note.
Yeah. On my face when I was reading, I was like, "Oh, shit!"
Like that. Maybe this is
his headlines. Yeah. So, should we get into a backstory of Christopher Wilder then?
Go on.
So, Christopher Bernard Wilder was born March the 13th in 1945 in Sydney, Australia. He was the oldest child of an American naval officer named Coley Chapman Wilder, and his mother was an Australian native named June Decker. At birth, Wilder was so close to death that a priest was summoned to perform last rites, but he managed to pull through.
Fucking hell!
I know. Then, at the age of 2, he nearly drowned in a swimming pool. A year later, he required medical attention after experiencing convulsions.
That is a lot to go through before your
he had a rough
birthday.
start, to say the least. In his early adolescence, he began peeking through windows in his neighborhood. In 1963, when he was age 17, he was arrested along with 2 friends for the gang rape of a 13-year-old girl. Wilder was sentenced to probation and would later claim that he received electroshock therapy following this sentencing. It's been suggested that this therapy aggravated his violent sexual tendencies.
Do you think that relates to how Elle mentions about one of the victims being shocked, like from the blackened bits of the feet? Because you don't actually see that.
No, you don't.
The torture.
So,
Sorry.
I think Gregory just likes torturing people. That sounds it. Creepy guy. Thankfully, he's just a character in a TV show, not a real person. But this guy is.
Regrettably.
In 1968, he got married, but his wife left him a week later when he was questioned over a series of sexual assaults in his local area. His ex-wife told authorities that he attempted to kill her twice and that he tried to seduce both of his mother-in-law and his sister-in-law.
I have a question.
Yes.
He tried to kill her twice? They were only married for like a week.
Yeah, well, I assume it was like prior to the marriage, like the dating aspect.
Just as a hint, if he tries to kill you when he's dating you, he's not going to get it with a ring on his finger.
He ain't going to get any better.
Leave him.
Yes. Escape.
You don't need to fix him.
No. Just leave. No. Okay. He would later go on to use nude photos to extort sex from a student nurse. She complained to the police, but charges were dropped when she refused to testify in court. He then immigrated to the US in 1969, settling in Boynton Beach in Florida. Following a start in the electrical and construction business, he later became successful in the real estate business, earning enough to own an upscale waterfront home. It was around this time he developed an interest in photography, which resulted in him converting a bedroom in his home into a dark room. And as Emma mentioned earlier, seems to be a thing among murderers, so that they can hide what they've taken images of. So even in the US, his criminality continued, as you would have guessed. Between 1971 and 1975, he faced a number of charges for sexual assaults. He tried to get women to pose for nude photos on several occasions. Tried to force a high school student into having oral sex with him. And he would pose as a photographer named David Pierce. And during this ruse, he lured a girl out of a Florida shopping mall, drugged her, and forced her to have sex with him in his truck. However, he was never jailed for any of these offences.
How do you force someone to have sex with you in the trunk of a car? Like, was it a pickup truck?
It just says in his truck, so I don't know whether it was like a flatbed.
Oh, a truck. I thought you said trunk, and I was just imagining someone trying to have sex in the trunk of a car. Like, well, that doesn't feel like there'd be any way that you'd even be able to fit in there. Yeah. Sorry, truck. Yeah. I accept that is a reasonable possibility. And of course he didn't get any kind of fucking criminal prosecution for that.
No. Anyway, as you know, it'll get worse than this further down the line, so let's get a...
Oh, it's alright. Let me get my placards.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. In 1977, a psychologist deemed him as a mentally disordered sex offender and noted his need to dominate women and turn them into slaves for his pleasure. Yuck. He began seeing a sex therapist who, after a number of sessions, believed that he was making progress through their work. Obviously wasn't. Yes. Him or the psychologist.
Psychologist. She's the one that's got training and went, no, he's fine, don't worry.
In 1982, whilst visiting his parents back home in Australia, he was charged with sex offences against two 15-year-old girls. He abducted them from a beach, tied them up, forced them to pose for nude photos, bound them into subservient positions, and masturbated over them. When he was done with them, he allowed them to go free.
Oh, what a decent chap.
Oh, yeah. And once released, they headed straight to the police station and filed a report on him.
Good. Good for them. Good girls.
But
oh, no.
His parents posted his bail. And confusingly, the authorities allowed him to return to Florida to await trial.
Wait, no, you don't let someone who is on trial for rape leave the country.
But he gets worse.
You take his... Oh, for God's sake.
However, said trial was repeatedly postponed, and the eventual hearing date came after his death. So he was never prosecuted for those offences.
No, I'm sorry. How long after this did he die? How long has this fucking trial been postponed for? What were they postponing it for? Oh, it's going to be hard to get back from Florida. No fucking shit. That's why you don't let them go.
Yeah, so this was in 82, and he died 84, 85. So a couple of years.
Anyway, quick and speedy trial.
Mental. Absolutely mental. Two other girls, aged 10 and 12, later identified him from mugshots as the man who abducted them in Boynton Beach in 1983. He also forced them to perform oral sex on him.
That was awful to hear.
I know. It was awful reading it and typing it.
Yeah.
Disgusting. But by 1984, the rapes just weren't enough for him anymore. In early March, 23-year-old Elizabeth Ann Kenyon, a girlfriend of Wilder and a Miss Florida finalist, went missing from Miami. Hours before her disappearance, she'd gone to meet up with her parents. Her father noticed bruises on both her arms and her legs, which she claimed was from breaking up a fight at the Coral Gables High School where she worked. I call bullshit. She was last seen with Wilder at a gas station near Miami. 6 days later, her car was found abandoned at Miami International Airport, and there was no evidence to suggest that she'd packed for a trip.
Oh my God.
Wilder was classed as the main suspect in her disappearance due to his extensive rap sheet of sexual offences and the fact that he'd been dating her. He was later linked to the disappearance of 20-year-old aspiring model Rosario Teresa Gonzalez. Her last sighting was a month before her disappearance at the Miami Grand Prix, where she worked as a spokesmodel for a pharmaceutical company. Witnesses described her leaving with a Caucasian man in his 30s. Her car was found abandoned near the DuPont Plaza. However, neither Kenyon or Gonzalez's bodies have ever been found. While he was considered a suspect for both disappearances, he was never arrested and continued his killing spree long after fleeing Miami. Just a few weeks later, he picked up 21-year-old Teresa Ann Ferguson from the Merritt Square Mall in Merritt Island, Florida. He murdered her, dumped her body at Canaveral Groves in a snake-infested canal. 5 days later, her body was found. He then went on to his next target, who was 19-year-old Linda Grover, a student at Florida State University. She was abducted from Governor's Square Mall in Tallahassee 2 days after Ferguson's murder. Wilder then took her to Bainbridge, Georgia. Here, she was raped twice and tortured by electrocution. He beat her when she tried to get away, but thankfully she managed to escape his clutches and lock herself in the bathroom of the Glen Oaks motel room where they were staying. She survived. Wilder fled in his car, but he took her belongings with him. He then fled to Beaumont, Texas, where he kidnapped 23-year-old nursing student Terry Diane Walden. Her body was found 3 days later in a canal. She'd been raped and stabbed to death. He then fled in Waldron's car, heading to Oklahoma this time, where he abducted 21-year-old Suzanne Wendy Logan from the Penn Square Mall in Oklahoma City. He took her to Newton, Kansas, where he stabbed her to death and dumped her body under a cedar tree. Days later, bear in mind this is all quite short, I think like within the space of a month, like every couple of days, like he's moving.
This is an insane timeline.
Tell me about it.
And I'm just like,
it looks like bam, 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 bam.
I don't understand how they're like, oh yeah, it's him anyway. Never mind.
So surely she needs to be tracking him, following him, something.
Yeah.
Days later, he abducted 18-year-old Cheryl Lynn Bonaventura from Grand Junction, Colorado. They were seen together at a diner in Silverton where they had told staff that they were heading to Las Vegas via Durango. Bonaventura was shot and stabbed 2 days later after leaving Colorado near Canard Creek in Utah. It took 2 months for her body to be discovered. On April Fool's Day, 17-year-old aspiring model Michelle Lynn Kaufman disappeared from a 17 magazine cover model competition at the Meadows Mall in Las Vegas. Kaufman's body was discovered a month later near a rest stop in Southern California, but it took a few weeks until she could be formally identified from dental records. A few days after Kaufman's disappearance, Wilder was placed on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. At the same time, the Behavioral Science Unit, led by John Douglas, created a profile on him to determine when and where he would strike again. This is when the media also dubbed him the Beauty Queen Killer. On April the 4th, Wilder photographed 16-year-old Tina Marie Risico before abducting her near Torrance, California, and driving her to El Centro where he assaulted her. Believing that she would be of use to help lure other victims, he kept her alive as he traveled east, briefly stopping off in Prescott, Arizona, Joplin, Missouri, and Chicago, Illinois, before arriving in Indiana, where he forced Risico to lure 16-year-old Dawnette Sue Wilt from the South Lake Mall. Wilder raped Wilt several times in his car while Risico drove to New York. Seeing an appeal on the news for Risico's return, he took the girls to a forest near Penn, New York, where he attacked Wilt, suffocating her before stabbing her and leaving her for dead. Thankfully, Wilt survived the stab wounds and managed to escape from the forest, where she was found by passers-by and taken to a hospital. Wilder doubled back to where he'd left her and panicked when he realised that she'd fled. Near Victor, New York, Wilder forced Risico to lure in 33-year-old Beth Elaine Dodge. He took her to an empty gravel pit and fatally shot her. As Risico followed him to the location in Dodge's car, they decided to abandon Wilder's car and drove Dodge's to Logan Airport in Boston, where he saw sense in letting Risico go and bought her a ticket home to Los Angeles.
Oh, well, that makes up for it.
Oh. Wilder then headed to Beverly, Massachusetts, where he attempted to abduct a 19-year-old girl at gunpoint. However, she managed to escape. In a panic...
So what I don't get is when you're like, oh, no, I am being a bit harsh here by abducting this teenager. Why you would then be like, well, I'll let her go and abduct a different teenager.
Yeah. Like, surely she knew of his plans, maybe, if they'd been with her. Because they've literally been across country together.
Mm.
So surely they were got friendly talking. So maybe she might have had an inkling of where he was going to go next. So how does he know she wasn't going to tell anybody?
I'm hoping she did tell someone.
We'll never know.
Oh, good.
So in a panic, he abandoned several items, including his camera and objects that he'd taken from previous victims, before deciding to flee to New Hampshire. On April the 13th, he stopped at a service station in Colebrook, New Hampshire, to ask for directions to Canada. It was here he was spotted by 2 New Hampshire state troopers, Leo Jellison and Wayne Fortier. As they approached him, Wilder dove into his car to retrieve his revolver. Jellison managed to grab him from behind, but in the midst of a scuffle between the two men, 2 shots were fired. One bullet struck Wilder, passing through his body and wounding Jellison, damaging his liver. The second struck Wilder in the chest, fatally wounding his heart. Of course, Wilder died immediately, and while Jellison was seriously wounded, he later recovered and eventually returned to full duty. Wilder was cremated in Florida, leaving a personal estate worth over $7 million, which...
Wait, what?
Yes.
Where's he get the $7 million from?
Well, he had that big waterfront home, didn't he? And he had a business, but as of 2024, the equivalent is 18 million, so a lot of money. However, 2 years later, a court-appointed arbitrator ruled that his money was to be divided amongst the families of his victims.
Good. Oh my goodness.
Thank you for letting me traumatize you for the last however long it was.
I can't believe that. Like,
crazy guy.
Well, that was upsetting. Right. Okay. So let's take a breather, Sarah.
Yeah.
And we'll go on to what would Penelope Garcia do.
Yes.
Okay. So in this episode, we decided to focus on we've covered rape charities in a couple of episodes, domestic abuse. So what we decided to do here was to focus on violence against women and girls, because that is a horrific problem just about everywhere.
Yeah.
So, Sarah, do you want to take us away with the UK?
Yep, thank you. So, as of December 2025, the British government has outlined its latest violence against women and girls strategy. The plans unveiled by the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, will focus on tackling the root causes of abuse and prevention, with a heavy focus on teaching young people about healthy and respectful relationships. Sadly, an alarming number of young boys are being influenced by misogynistic ideologies from unsavory characters online. So the plans will also include helping to dispel the nonsense being shared on social media in order to better protect young girls and women from becoming future victims. Over the last year alone, 1 in every 8 women was a victim of domestic abuse, sexual assault, or stalking. There's a website which is www.endviolenceagainstwomen.org.uk. They have a lot of advice, they have signposting to services that you can access if you yourself are experiencing violence as a woman or a young girl. And I have a few numbers for domestic abuse helplines, which are all accessible 24/7. For England, the number is 0808 200 247. In Northern Ireland, it's 0808 802 1414. For Wales, it's 0808 8010 800. For Scotland, it's 0800 027 1234. And Emma, for the US?
Thank you, Sarah. So would you like to hear some horrific statistics?
I brace myself, yeah, go on.
Okay, cool. An average of 24 people per minute are victims of rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in the United States. 24 people a minute. That's 1 every 2.5 seconds. So, where we're starting from is not fantastic. That is intimate partner violence. Sexual violence statistics are nearly 1 in 5 women have been raped in their lifetime. Nearly 1 in 10 women are raped by an intimate partner in their lifetime. Stalking, 1 in 6 women have been the victim of stalking at some point during their lifetime, in which they felt fearful or believed they or someone close to them could be harmed or killed. So apparently there's another form of stalking not included here where you didn't feel like you were at risk. You didn't feel like you were going to be killed. So that's the number is higher. The most common form of stalking, 78% of women report this, is repeated unwanted phone calls and voice or text messages. And all of these statistics are just fucking terrible.
Yep.
So, just like the UK, the US has an Office on Violence Against Women, and it provides federal leadership in developing the nation's capacity to reduce violence against women and administer justice for and strengthen services to victims of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, and stalking. And if you're keeping up, it's January 2026, and someone who, shall we say, is perhaps not so strict on ending violence against women is in the Oval Office. And importantly, I didn't say who, so how would you know? Earlier in the winter, the executive branch of the United States of America did a funding pause thing for a lot of their initiatives, including, ending violence against women. Cool. Currently, judges have said you're actually not allowed to do that, and there is a restraining order. So I believe that these initiatives are currently getting the money. So they have that. They are awarding grants to organizations across the country that can help end violence against women and girls. This might be education for young people. It may be domestic violence centers, etc., etc. And in the financial year 2024, which I would posit is probably until April 2024, they awarded $684 million worth of funding to 880 grant awards. So I will be leaving this website in the description purely because it actually has a full resource finder website linked on it. So you can actually find resources for survivors depending on the state or territory. So it includes Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Guam, American Samoa, and the Northern Mariana Islands. Northern Mariana Islands. It's very small text. So it gives you a local number to call. And also many of the states also have ones that are specially set up for Native American women experiencing violence. So yeah, the resources for the survivors are on there, and it also provides information about how they choose the grants available, the grants for funding, how they choose who to give it to, and how you can apply if you are running a scheme, like, for instance, as I said, going into schools and teaching young people about the dangers of misogyny to try and erase some of the damage being done by manosphere influencers.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give also a shout out to thehotline.org. It's a domestic violence organization, but it also covers a lot of violence against women, and you can call them on 1-800-799-7233, or you can live chat or text them on their website. There is something that says AI chat. My honest advice would be to go to a live chat rather than the AI chat.
Yeah.
Hopefully the AI chat is just signposting you to numbers via your state, because I worry about what good that could do.
Yeah.
But I will leave all of that information in the description.
That's all for this week. We'll come back next week when we'll be talking about Criminal Minds Season 1, Episode 21, Secrets and Lies. The penultimate Season 1 episode.
I know. While you're waiting for the next episode, why not follow us on social media? We're on Instagram at Looking for a Man His 30s Pod, Tumblr at Looking for a Man His 30s Pod, or you can email us at lookingforamanhis30s@gmail.com. All 3 times, 30s is spelled out. Don't put 30, or you might get one of the bots that Instagram clearly thinks we are.
And you can also rate and review us on whichever platform you're using to listen to podcasts. And if you'll excuse us for being douchey influencers, whatever we are. If you're on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications. It really helps. Thank you.
Until next time.
This case is closed.